I think it's quite a significant reaction, actually. It suggests to me that the police are taking seriously the various allegations, rumours and all sorts of things that have been going around, and that they are now going to look into them properly. And it may lead, and I hope it does, to then criminal investigations, so that the police and the judicial authorities will be looking into actual investigations of real people, dead or alive. And whatever is learnt from this as well must feed into the overarching inquiry which is now underway under the new judge, Justice Lowell Goddard too. So I think this is a significant and a good development.
I mean, the whole idea of the police investigating the police in this case is to make it a more efficient process, so it can feed into that inquiry. But at the end of the day, this is the police investigating the police, and the IPCC are overseeing this. They don't have the power to compel, for example, retired officers even to speak to them. So can this really be effective?
Sure, and that's part of the problem with the IPCC, that it's fairly toothless, and it's certainly toothless when it comes to officers who are no longer serving officers as well. But this is about investigating whether criminal activity has taken place and whether there has been a cover-up. And lots of people have been suspicious, with good reason, that a cover-up over many years has been preventing these things being properly investigated and brought to light many years ago when they happened. We're talking about things going back into the 70s and 80s. I mean, only 4 results can come of this. Either there's no truth to any of these allegations, and I think given the amount of evidence we've seen, or alleged allegations coming forward, that's very unlikely. Secondly, there was police incompetence at the time, and I can't believe that. Thirdly, were police covering up for other police who were themselves involved in some sort of sexual abuse? Or were they being suppressed, their activities, investigations, by orders on high from politicians? And obviously a lot of people think it leads right to the top. Now, I've said all along, the Home Secretary said all along, that VIPs, be they MPs, be they celebrities, be they top judges, policemen or whatever, should absolutely be investigated along with anybody else. They are not immune, and if they've committed sexual abuse against children, they are no less repugnant to individuals and criminals than taxi drivers, Asian gangs, teachers, doctors or whatever. So we need this investigation to be absolutely transparent and to give some relief to the victims and the survivors that this is being taken seriously, and all the stones are being unturned. And I fear they are going to unravel and reveal some pretty murky things lurking beneath those stones.
But if we're talking about full transparency, why not, as the Shadow Home Secretary suggested, have an independent inquiry in this case?
Well, we've got so many independent inquiries going on within the National Health Service, within the BBC, within education, within children's homes. We've got them coming out of our ears, which is why this overarching inquiry, to try and bring all these different strands together, to really get to the heart of how did society, how did the establishment, how did institutions allow this form of abuse of children to go on undetected or unprosecuted for all those years. And investigating the police themselves and their role into these various allegations involving child abuse in South London and potentially in Westminster as well are an important part of that. So let the IPCC do their job. They're now going to have the spotlight on them. They're not going to be able to cover anything up. And the police actually have referred this to the IPCC themselves. So they've shown willing, and I think that's a very important sign as well. We all want to get to the bottom of this. This does no one any good, be they politicians, be they senior police officials, be they judges or anybody else involved with this. We need to get to the truth, and if there are perpetrators, culprits, criminals still at large, they need to be brought to book.
And these are historic cases we're talking about here, potentially. But when you talk about what's going on at the moment, I mean, there's been talk of, you know, it's a postcode lottery, really, when it comes to how victims today are dealt with the police forces. Is there a crisis of confidence still in our police forces and the way that they actually handle these?
Well, we're looking here at historic cases going back to the 70s. But what I'm most concerned about is, have we got a child protection system in 2015 that is fit for purpose? And well, that is the big question. And I think we are better than we were some years ago. And if you ask me, are children in this country safer than they were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when Jimmy Savile was up to all his vile abuse, then I think the answer is absolutely yes. But it is a postcode lottery in certain parts of the country. As we've seen from Rochdale, from Rotherham, from the Oxfordshire cases recently, in too many of those cases, people in positions of authority and trust who are there to look after children, be they police officers, social workers, teachers and others, did not take those allegations seriously. previously. For all sorts of politically correct reasons, in some cases, they were told to go away and they were swept under the carpet. There is no excuse for that now, and I don't think anybody can really say now that this is not being taken seriously. And if there's one upside, one compensation for this whole vile story, is that people are far more aware of child sexual exploitation than ever before, that it can happen to anybody, and we all have a duty to be vigilant. And those people responsible for it are increasingly being thrown in jail for a very long time.
So we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you.